we've seen what they can pull out time and time again before this, but whatever way the team kind of has been working together this time around, they haven't quite found their stride. They were looking very sloppy in rotations, and their early game wasn't really working out. And yes, they did manage to pull through, but it never looked convincing at any point in time. So I'd really want to see M&M step it up, or I think they're really going to struggle.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But ladies and gentlemen, we are on to picks and bans for Game 1 of the ESL Premiership here on this Twitch channel. I don't know why I went with that. I was actually going to say ESL_LOL, and I realized we're on ESL UK, so I kind of rolled off with it. But picks or bans coming in thick and fast. Misfits on the blue side with Nerdrage on the red. Nunu, Zac knocked away, as well as Zoe and Varus. So far we're seeing pretty big tanks and pretty high damage DPSs being taken away by both sides.
Yeah, I'm kind of questioning the red side ban coming through from Nerdrage on Zoe. That just leaves it easier for Misfits to take the Azir on this first rotation if they want to go with that. Because Zoe's kind of the one champ that does particularly well into Azir. But look, we'll have to see if that is maybe going to be their last ban. Looking across the board, you're going to see the Tahm Kench taken away as well from Snuggly. So not wanting that protection for Jakamaka. You talked about it in your piece today as well, how Jakamaka is really the guy you want to enable on Nerdrage. So not having that protection there can hurt them quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's see now what the final ban will be from Nerdrage. Like you say, a lot of tanks, a lot of very big front lines taken away. And also, like you said as well about Jakamaka, a lot of enablers getting away. Nunu kind of seen as a little broken, but you get that onto your team of Nerdrage. That is massive, especially with the protection of a Tahm Kench. But now we see Braum and Tahm Kench both taken out. Two of the biggest supports in the meta right now. And let's see what Misfits actually want to go for.
I think you take these Azir in this scenario, it just solidifies your mid lane so much. There's very little that can really go into them as well at this stage, but actually they're going to swap over to the Gallios, so wanting to put special on this champ, which means that there's going to be a lot more map pressure coming through. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them maybe pick up a stronger bot lane or a very strong top laner as well. Maybe even last pick it to see if they can get that counter pick through, which means that then they can put the pressure down and see if they can gain an advantage through the early win of, say, like a Camille top or something that works incredibly well with the Galio.
And we'll see now, Galio kind of snuck himself back into the meta a little bit, kind of made himself a little bit known. Like you say, with those kind of high DPS supports, means that high DPS mids, it means he kind of slept himself back in. You comboing with Jarvan or anything like that can work. But it looks like Jarvan going to be picked up there for the side of Nerdrage. And I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe see them go with a support, because we've actually seen quite a few support bans taken away from them.
Yeah, they could also go with the AD carry here, but looks like they're actually going to go with the mid. But I think I would have preferred, as you're saying, a support or an AD carry pickup here, particularly when you see the likes of Kog'Maw is still open, who a lot of people are touting as the strongest AD carry on this patch. And I don't feel like you're really too worried about your mid laner here. I would have preferred that if you secured yourself a strong bot lane, so then you can try and hold out against this Galio, but they really were hoping to get this Corki pick, and at the moment, it looks like they're going to be picking up Gangplank across way for Shikari. So this is what I like that Galio enables, is that you're able to pick up these champions that can scale into the later stages of the game, because almost at all points in time, you have that protection coming from the mid lane. And as well, it means that it's very difficult for Nerdrage to be proactive against these champions, because you never really know where Galio is going to be.
Yeah, you got to figure out where he is and how he kind of comes about this and all. So Gangplank, like you said, and the Kog'Maw as well, going to be picked up for Misfits Academy. They've got that beefy front line in the Galio mid, so they just needed a little bit of DPS on the back end. So Corki was picked up, though for the side of Nerdrage. That will be going to Krogson. And Corki is definitely something you want to kind of like look to kind of go for, to try and bully out this Galio, so he can't really make those moves. But Camille, definitely something that can bully the Gangplank.
Yeah, most certainly. And I think that Nerdrage are now going to opt towards much more of this mid-game centric style. I could see them maybe looking towards picking up a Callista or something for their AD carry role as well, and just making sure they've got a very strong mid-game and try and power through before your Gangplank and your Kog'Maw come online, because once those guys get rolling, it's very, very difficult to stop. But you do have your split push pressure, and the Camille does very well into the Gangplank, particularly in these early stages of the game. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Kavod making his way up towards the top to try and help out that situation, particularly around that level 6. Having that double engage and that double lockdown coming from the Jarvan and the Camille makes it near impossible for Shikari to get away.
And we're actually going to see plenty of supports now banned away. Lulu taken away, Janna taken away, and the ultra support as such for the likes of a Kog'Maw and Taric. So right now in this game, 5 of the bans, half of them, 50%, have been on that support lane. Sejuani taken away as well. So we're going to have to see now what do these two kind of really go for. You would imagine a support will have to be picked up pretty soon for Nerdrage, but they don't really want to show their hand into that mid lane too soon.
Yeah, they will want to be pick up a support here for themselves, particularly with so many of them banned away. I mean, we have seen some of the Threshes coming out, but I think, as I was about to say, you go more with the Alistar, who's just, in this situation, is now king of the bot lane. There's very few people that can deal with the tankiness that comes through, and it fits so well with how Nerdrage can try and accelerate this game. You've got that dive potential that can come through, not only from the Jarvan, the Camille, but now also the Alistar. And don't forget as well, you're going to have Corki with that package, so he will be able to roam and be pretty effective with everything else that Nerdrage have on the table, which is why I'm not surprised to see on the other side them going with that Shen, just to have some of that global pressure, that extra shields can come through, working with that Galio to try and shut down any of this pressure Nerdrage can bring through.
Yeah, it looks like they're actually going to go with the Shen and the Rengar. Rengar, you know, with the capabilities to one-shot people. We are hovering over the Tristana and the Ashe. Could be the Xayah. Looks like they're going to finally settle on the Ashe in the end of it. So that means both teams locked and loaded, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have a look at the two. So Misfits Academy going with Gangplank into top lane. Bimbo with the Rengar in the jungle. Special taking the newly reformed Galio into the mid lane. And then Chrisberg and Prosper with Kog'Maw and Shen in the duo lane. And on the blue, on the red or purple side, whichever you guys prefer, it is going to be Nerdrage with Camille in the top side, Jarvan in the jungle, Corki in the mid lane, and then Jakamaka and Snuggly taking the Ashe and Alistar into that duo lane. So now the draft's over, everything kind of looking pretty good. What's happening? Who got the best of the draft right now?
This is going to be pretty tough to call because Nerdrage has put themselves on a big timer. They get super outscaled towards the later stages of the game. I mean, Kog'Maw beats Ashe. The Rengar is going to do more than the Jarvan, particularly paired with the Galio, and Gangplank is going to do phenomenal in those later stages as well. So the question really is, how well can Nerdrage look to accelerate this game? In terms of what tools they have available, they've done fantastically. We're already touching on, you know, the dive potential, but having that Ashe as well for the pick potential is huge as well. It means you can start off these fights from long range, and it forces the rest of Misfits to play incredibly safe. The only thing I'm worried about is on the side of Misfits, I like Rengar in the pick with Galio and with Shen. The only thing I'm worried about is because you haven't got priority in either of your lanes, it's going to be, in any of your lanes, to be honest, it's going to be incredibly difficult for him to find an opening to really get snowballing. And you were talking about the one-shot potential. This is what you really need Rengar to bring to the table. And yes, he's enabled by the Shen and the Galio to stay in these fights and survive that little bit longer, but you need more than that. You need to find some opening in the early stages of the game, and I think they're going to struggle to a certain extent to get this Rengar snowballing, because I don't know where they're going to find that opening. You can't really get in the bot lane because you're into the Alistar. You've only got that Kog'Maw. Don't really have much in the way to get that fight started, particularly into an Ashe. You want to try and stay back from it a little bit. I think it's going to be just quite difficult for the side of Misfits to get rolling, but if Nerdrage can close out the game, which is what we kind of saw them struggle to do in their qualifying stages, it's something that Misfits can play into, hold on to their towers, hold on to the lane, and just make sure they can continue to scale up. I'd give it till about 30 to 35 minutes where we start to see a very big swing, probably drastic, over into the side of Misfits gaming, where they start to hit those item breakpoints.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting information here that the game has been paused at the start, but it is something that we want to make sure the players are 100%, make sure everyone's going on, so we do apologize for the delay. But Misfits Academy, they kind of have a lot they have everything to lose, is probably the best way to put it. They're the team that everyone else wants to beat. They're the team that everyone is looking to take down. They've already been kind of seen, quote unquote, as the #1 team. Is it enough for Nerdrage to kind of think maybe they can go for something a little bit different, maybe go for some kind of like a slightly cheesy play to try and get them, or do they have to play standard lanes and try just keep with their mid-game spikes?
I think it's a bit of both, to be honest. Like, they have the tools available to get this Jarvan out into the open, start making the pressure plays, particularly when you're into the Rengar. Rengar doesn't have much in the way of gank potential up until that level 6 point. So this frees up Jarvan to a certain extent to have free roam around the map. So it's going to be a question of how defensive Misfits are playing. If Jarvan can create those openings, get the early snowball, this could be absolutely devastating. Particularly when you've got the likes of that Camille in the top lane that we're talking about, the synergy already there. You've got that bot lane set up as well with the Ashe coming through, which means that that's going to be incredibly hard for them to survive there as well. If Kog'Maw gets hit by that ultimate, there's going to be a lot of follow-up coming through. You've got the Flag and Drag, the Cataclysm, that Alistair as well. Like, this becomes very scary and very difficult to play against. I think that Misfits need to start looking at, okay, we can give up tier 1 towers across the board and try and just defend in a safer position, because if they try too hard to defend the towers or push for objectives such as Dragon, maybe even the Rift Herald as well, I think that you're going to struggle quite a lot coming into this mid game. The cheese aspect of it isn't really a factor because I don't think they have too much, but it's definitely on Nerdrage and on Jarvan to a certain extent to really put this pressure down, because if they don't find that opening, they will just end up losing the game as it progresses on.
We'll have to wait and see, but I always hate Galio in the meta because it encourages that kind of hyper carry ADC meta, which I'm just not a fan of personally. when I suppose the meta is right now, it is all about to protect the AD carry. It's about getting your AD carry, particularly Kog'Maw, to that point where they can just shred through anybody in their way. Varus, very popular pick, Tristana and the Kog'Maw. Twitch I've seen in solo queue as well quite a lot, has a high win percentage as well. So I want to know, how do teams, if they can't play against their bot lane, do they just lose, or do they look for a split push, or do they look for kind of avenues in terms of win conditions elsewhere?
Yeah, I think it's not a case of, okay, we just fall back and let them do what they want. It's you just try and maneuver where your pressure is on the map. So in this situation, you've got that Galio in the mid lane with the Kog'Maw. So now you've got this pressure coming from your mid lane. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them try and secure vision down in this river, particularly on the bottom side of the map, to try and keep that Kog'Maw safe. But I think it's very difficult for the Galio in this situation because he's kind of pulled in two different directions, and it's very hard to maintain vision control on both sides of the map. I mean, maybe Misfits are able to pull it off, but it'd be very, very rare occasion where they're able to, secure both Scuttle Crabs, and then you have that Galio can roam to both sides. Realistically, it's going to be a case of they're going to sacrifice one of these lanes in the hopes that the other one can carry. And if in some circumstances they can just beat them on pure mechanics, yes, you can go, okay, I'm going to help out the lane that isn't doing so well and slightly struggling. But when you're up against a team like Nerdrage, that isn't really an option. You've got to try and figure out some way to put the pressure down. And I'm not sure where they're going to find it, but I think it's most likely going to be through enabling that Rengar level 6 alongside the Galio, and that's where they're going to find their opening. Now
for a little bit of a harder question now. Who do you think has the funnest name in the entire Premiership?
In the entire, I like Snuggly. I think
Snuggly, yeah.
It's not funny. It's just adorable.
Yeah, you look at him and you just kind of like, oh, I just want to give you a hug. Yeah, I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. We are still waiting for the game to get unpaused and bring you the action, and we're just kind of stalling for a little bit of time. Obviously everyone is waiting for this. This is the first game. This is the starting point of the 2018 season. This is the one game that can pretty much set it up for everything. If Misfits Academy lose, though, they have all the pressure. They have to, kind of stomp out all the naysayers and everything. Whereas Nerdrage, they kind of have to, they kind of have nothing to lose, really. You lose against the quote-unquote best team in the league right at the start. You can move forward from that.
Yeah, I think they've a lot to pick up, though, just in realizing that they can go toe-to-toe with the best. I think a lot of people weren't really eyeing them up as the top-tier team. So I think just as much as Misfits have to lose, I think Nerdrage have to gain. They really do want to show teams, we are here, we can really put the pressure down, and we can play with the big boys, but this is the game where they want to try and solidify that, and I think they have the tools to do it, especially when you're going to be looking at Misfits, who have kind of thrown down the gauntlet saying, look, we don't think you can close this out. We're going for this mass hyper scale, and it's on now Nerdrage to try and shut that down and close out the game before they can reach that point. And the question is, can they do it?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are finally on to the riff for Game 1 of the 2018 spring split season of the ESL Premiership. It is going to be Misfits Academy going up against Nerdrage. Let's see what it all goes on.
Yeah, we can already see just a defensive fan out right now, not really going to be looking towards too much. But the question is, where is the pressure going to be coming down? Because we're looking at Jarvan. It's going to be starting up on that top side, which means already he's looking to see if he can influence either the bottoms lane or either coming into the mid lane to see if he can nab himself a special. But I think it'll be more towards that bottom side, trying to see if he can get this Kog'Maw behind. They have the engage coming through from Snuggly as well, and Prosphere, yes, can do well with the taunt, but there's no real disengage. There's no real CC that can stop the engage coming through from Snuggly and from the Flag and Drag from Kavolt as well. So this is going to be a lane that I think he'll be looking to highly influence in these early stages, the kind of the 3 to 5 levels before he makes his way top of that level 6 point.
Yeah, we'll have to see exactly how it goes. Looks like it's going to see an overheal fleet footwork for the Ashe, so definitely not the you know, kind of definitely something a little bit kind of more standard and a little bit safer to keep them going throughout this kind of mid game, given the extra shields, so no bursting down available. But I want to see the Alistar. I want to see Snuggly really go for something, especially before this Rengar hits 6. They can really look for something to combo with the Jarvan and maybe get this bot lane an advantage.
Yeah, but look how far Chrisberg and Prosphere are playing back right now. This is going to make it so difficult for Jarvan to kind of go in here. You're going to have this wave that is going to stack up here a little bit for them as well, but they should be able to play it back nice and safe. And looks like actually Bimbo is going to find the Jarvan.
Ooh, definitely a little bit of a favorable trade there. Bimbo already pointing out that he is the king of this jungle, forcing Jarvan back, and that's not a good sign, especially considering Jarvan should be the early game jungler.
Yeah, Rengar still can put up quite a bit of damage. It's just he's not really enabled to get in because he doesn't have the ultimate. Much more reliant on the jungle to move around, but should be fine anyway. Got to be back up. Means that he won't be able to influence the map too early, which does play in the favor of Misfits. As we were saying, it's Kavolt who really needs to enable his team to make the plays happen. And if he's going to be locked out or, you know, taking that health away from him, it's going to make it a lot more difficult to do so.
Yeah, definitely got to be scared of the big cat. You know, not something you want to be turned into, especially you don't want to turn into his dinner straight away in this game, so needs to keep himself safe, needs to keep eyes on it as well. The biggest thing I find with the Rengar pick is that if you can make sure that he goes under the radar, then he can make so much more things happen. It's kind of like it's like warding your flanks against a Zac. The more you know, the more, or the less likely it is that he's going to be able to do anything for you. But if he gets out of your vision and he's able to sneak up behind you, that's when things can really start falling apart for Nerdrage.
Yeah, they shouldn't have too much of a problem keeping him in check, just because we were already talking about the lane priority that you guys have. Governor should be pushing in Shikari. Oh, actually, as I say that, though.
Yeah, here we go. We're going to see the Rengar Bimbo finding Jarvan again. Going to have another leap strike after that bush. As we see mid lane now going ham toe-to-toe as well. Cole picked up for the Corki, so Frogson definitely a little bit more kind of late game oriented. Wants to go and get that Triforce as early as possible. It's definitely hurting him a little bit. As I say that, though, we're going to see both supports going ham onto each other's AD carry. Going to see Snuggly doing a little bit of damage. Flash away, though, as we see Special now getting a lot of turret shots. He may end up going a little bit too far. One more auto attack, not enough. Now it's going to be an equal trade. Both mid laners burning their flashes. And already we're seeing Misfits. They're trying to go for those aggressive moves.
The biggest thing here, though, is Special is just uses TP to get back into lane. So it's all on the Corki now. He can just back up and then TP into lane if he wants to. But looks like he's going to be sticking around. I actually think this is a bit greedy from Corki. He could back up so easily right now and just be in control completely of this lane. He'd be able to help out Jarvan as well. But looks like he wants to shove in one more wave. And that's where you're going to see Kavolt coming in to just help him move that out.
Yeah, they want to try and get a little bit more gold onto him. As I say that, though, Bimbo going to flash in, get first blood. Greedy pathing. They should have known the Rengar was there, and it's going to be Misfits Academy who capitalize.
Yeah, this is what I mean. When you have that teleport available, you don't need to be greedy. Yes, you want to save up and get that little bit of extra damage. You want to, like, as you were looking at, he's only picked up the longsword in respect of the tier. There was no reason to play that greedy. It doesn't really give you a huge advantage over Special. If he just backed up, he could have pressured the lane, made Special lose all the minions there instead, and then had a look to see if he could influence the map elsewhere. But instead, he ends up playing that completely wrong and ends up giving over the kill.
Yeah, already a great start for Misfits Academy as they pretty much have the kind of map to work with right now. Pressure in the top side going in favor of the Gangplank Shikari, so he is in no way, shape or form in any danger. He's already got a kind of nice wave stacking up so he can go back, or even set up even if he needs to go back. And I kind of feel a little bit worried already for Nerdrage. They need to try and find something a little bit more solid before they start coming into those kind of mid-game spikes, because your mid-game spike is only as good for how far ahead you can get with it. If they're on equal kind of grounds as such with the items they get, when they get the Triforce, when they get the the crit items onto the Ashe, it's not really going to mean much.
And that's the thing, it's not even equal grounds at the moment. They're behind, especially with the pressure that Bimbo's putting out onto Gavolt. I love what he's doing. We're already saying that, he can't really do much in the lanes as a Rengar until you hit that level 6 point. So he's just decided, I'm going to fight Gavolt at every single opportunity I have. And because he's got some good pressure in the mid lane, Special's been able to tend his way up towards that to make sure that he's got the support, and he's shut down this Jarvan, who needed to be able to fight the map, get into the bottom lane to try and shut down the Kog'Maw, get up towards that level 6 point in the top lane. But right now he's actually quite far behind. The kill into Rengar's favor as well, which means that if they run into each other at any of these ganks, it will go heavily in favor of Misfits.
Yes, exactly. Already only one kill, 7.5 minutes in, we're looking at 1,000 gold lead, and it's just kind of slowly increasing. And as I say that, we're going to see an engage from both supports again. Jakamaka trying to put down the hurt onto Frostfur. He's going to be able to back out pretty nicely. And I like what Snuggly's trying to do. When he sees the Shen going in, he is knocking away the Kog'Maw, so Crispberg can't put down crazy amounts of DPS. But at the same time, they do need to make sure that they're not kind of, losing those trades constantly. Otherwise, the Kog'Maw will start to take over this game fairly quickly.
Yeah, you can already see the plan coming out from Misfits. It's not too worried about Crispberg. It's about getting Special and Bimbo working together. The synergy that can come through with that ultimate can be absolutely devastating if they can get onto Nerdrage. And because they've now got this pressure coming through, look at the Corki's HP. There's no way that he's able to stick around, which now opens the level 6 Rengar to do as he pleases with the backup of Special.
Yeah, again, so many options for the Rengar when given that space. We talked about it a little bit, just, giving him the room to be able to move around as freely as he likes. And the fact that the Jarvan just can't really keep up with him, and can't really even keep up with him in terms of a 1v1 either, it's just kind of, concerning, considering he's supposed to be the big one. As I say that, though, we're actually going to see Jarvan jumping in onto that mid lane. Bimbo nearly getting taken down. 2 ultimates used. They do get themselves out, but there's 2 big early pressures taken away now from the side of Misfits. Nice play there from the Jarvan.
Yeah, well played to catch him out alongside Snuggly as well. They were moving together to see if they could get vision around this dragon, which ideally they would like to pick up. We were talking about how they want to accelerate this game, and picking up this early mountain drake could be critical for that. So trying to get the vision control means that they actually end up catching Bimbo out of position. He has so much backup coming through, though, that he's okay to do this, but as you were saying, it loses that offensive pressure now.
Yeah, as I say that again, though, Special might be in a little bit of trouble. There's the Gangplank goal just to slow everybody down. He's going to be able to get away with just using his flash. And as I say that, though, Crispberg takes out Snuggly. One play on one side for Nerdrage means a capitalization from the other. And as I say that, though, here we go. Ash Arrow hits onto Crispberg. Still has his flash. Will be able to use it if he does get caught out. But he's just going to turn straight onto Jakamaka. And he gets taken out. Jakamaka may be forced to flash. No, he doesn't even have it. He got him in the end. But we're back into the mid lane. Flash burnt by Corki as Bimbo jumps in and takes in that kill. It's all action all the time at the 10-minute mark. And Misfits are looking strong.
Misfits are looking in a fantastic spot right now. 4 kills picked up in their favor versus the 1. They're now putting pressure on this mid lane turret, and in particular when it was Nerdrage making the pressure, putting the play in action with Governor roaming down from the top lane. This is disastrous. Shikari is now getting free farm, and he's going to be able to put that pressure down in the top lane turret. You can see this is actually phenomenal play for Misfits because Shikari didn't take that top lane turret. We're already talking about how they want to hold out on this lane phase as long as possible, allow them to scale up. By not taking down that top lane turret, they're extending the laning phase and leaving this gold consistently around the map. So when they do decide, okay guys, it's time for us to take over this game, they've got all this standing gold just ready to go into their pockets.
I'm very curious as to what Progson is looking to do with this Corki build. Going with the tier, really looking for kind of poke ability rather than the crit build we're normally seeing. And is it arguably better or worse? And I'll leave that up to you, considering you're the analyst. But that seems a bit odd to me.
The only way I'm looking at it is that he wants to try and keep Galio in lane as much as possible. We're talking about already the roam potential that can come through from the Galio, particularly if he's working with Bimbo. So all you want to do is just keep this lane pushed in and keep special here, so then he can't go and make those plays. So the tier is just to keep that mana regen up, so then you can try and keep special in lane. You can see it as well sometimes with people going for the tier and the Taric. It's just to try, in particular with Sivir, which is to try and push in the wave consistently while also keeping you guys nice and healthy and topped up. But it looks like we're going to have the ultimate in the bot lane.
Yeah, has the ultimate down. No flash on Chrisberg means he's going to try and maybe go for something, but they're actually just jumping onto Shen. Prosper doing a fantastic job at just keeping everyone away. Chrisberg pretty much leaves untouched, and as I say that, taunted. Corki, jump, flash. Ooh, Bimbo kind of messes that one up a little bit. Will be able to pick up the kill, though. Special gets himself a solo, and as I say that, though, Chrisberg flashes out of the Cataclysm. Gangplank Gold could have come in as well. Prosper goes golden for a second, and Snuggly is left to die, and here comes the rest of Misfits to clean up house. They pick themselves up 3 as Camille goes in onto Shikari in the top side. That's going to prompt the Shen ultimate to come in. Governor now in a little bit of trouble, and as I say that, he's going to have to use the ultimate, but in the end, we're going to see a 12.5-minute ace coming out from Misfits. They have turned on this game.
Misfits are stamping their foot down and saying, we don't care what time our comp scale is at, we're just going to take over the map. They are playing phenomenally, having complete cohesion around the map and moving together. You can see Bimbo and Special moving down from the mid lane, pick off the Corki as he's trying to move with the package to make the play in bot lane. And as well, I was actually a bit worried at the start of that fight. Prosphere went quite aggressive. He knew that he'd have Galio coming down, but they had to assume that a gank was coming through once Jack and Maka had unleashed that Ashe ultimate. But it doesn't matter. They're still able to turn it around. And this is just going from bad to worse for Nerdrage. They have no pressure on the map. No lane is winning. And the scaling is still in Misfits' favor. This is just awful.
Yeah, this is not a position you want to be in before 15 minutes. 5,000, nearly 6,000 gold behind against things like a Kog'Maw, a Rengar, and a Gangplank. That is very, very scary to look at from the side of Nerdrage. And honestly, it's going to take some monumental mistakes coming out from Misfits Academy for them to really throw this lead, even at this early stage.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very tall task for Nerdrage to come back in this. I really don't see how they go about it either. You know, in the bot lane, you've got Gwyn's who's completed onto the Kog'Maw, so he's going to be able to go toe-to-toe quite easily with an Ashe who hasn't even finished the Essence Reaver. You're going to be looking at the Gangplank as well, who's already up on CS, has that Triforce completed, and is fighting Governor 1v1. So where do you try and help out? And even if you do go into that situation, you've got Prosphere and Special to boot, who are going to be coming up to try and disrupt every play Nerdrage want to go for. Looks like as well now Bimbo is going to be moving down to see if he can make sure they can secure this bot lane tower and try and push Nerdrage back.
And all the while, we actually talked about Shikari saw it. Was he Snuggly gonna come in, try and use some kind of an engage right now? Gangplank Gold comes in. They do get on top of the Kog'Maw, but there is the Galio ultimate, and they're just shredding through the tanks. They do eventually take down Chrisberg, but for at what cost? They trade out the Camille. They trade it back as well for the Jarvan. And Gangplank's still top. He hasn't left. He didn't even need to join that fight, and they still win it. Misfits just looking so strong right now.
Yeah, the confidence Misfits are playing with is amazing. They know that they've already got this fight in the bot lane because of how far ahead the Kog'Maw is. They leave Shikari there. He's going to pick up a free tier 2. There's nobody around to defend this. Nobody to defend the bottom lane. And the last structure that they are going to be looking for right now is that mid lane turret. You can see already they're just shoving in this wave. They can rotate there at any point in time and pick that up. Nerdrage are falling further and further back into their base, and this is not where they want to be. They want to be the ones with control their jungle, so they can make that pick potential, so they can make that split push happen as well through Governor, but there's not a hope that that is ever going to happen with how far behind they're falling.
Look at those gold differences right now. There's a 3,000 alone in that top side. And Gangplank, he's only been assisting. He hasn't even been a part of the team fights. He's just been throwing down his cannon barrage to try and help with the slows and everything else. It's just so disheartening for the side of Nerdrage Pro. They have to try and see if they can get anything in terms of positives out of this game, let alone salvaging it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it comes down to Bippo's play in the early stages, or Bimbo, sorry, even play.
I was going to say, it's like, who's Bippo?
But yeah, it's just, he was able to invade the jungle early, meant that Nerdrage couldn't really use the jungle pressure that they had early effectively, and it meant that then the lanes were just able to hold on to their own. And then we saw once they were able to hit that level 6 point Special and Bimbo were working so well on Tangent, moving down as a duo to just destroy any hope that they had in the bottom lane of shutting down this Kog'Maw, while on the top lane Shikari is just showing his prowess in shutting down Governor, and you can clearly see that he's comfortable in this matchup. Had the advantage in the CS, now has the advantage in the assists as well, and realistically it's looking like Nerdrage are going to be taking a very quick loss into this tournament.
Yeah, and I suppose even when Nerdrage have thrown everybody onto the Kog'Maw, they've gone with the kind of the plan as such to blow up the Kog'Maw. They just haven't worked out for them right now. The kind of going with the Muramana on the Corki slows down that Triforce. That's another power spike that's not going to be there for another 12 minutes. Or not talking about 12 minutes, but definitely another 5-6 minutes. Now the Rift Herald's gone down. It's going to be more turret pressure against the team that, like you said, is supposed to be the one scaling.
Yeah, I mean, they have kind of done their job. I mean, Chris Berg has 2 deaths and he's the only one on their team with it. So blowing up the Kog'Maw has been a success. It's everyone else that is the problem, and they haven't been able to find a way through that. Now they're going to be looking towards this mid lane tower. Rift Herald is there as well, and when you're looking at one inner turret gone, every outer turret gone, and pressure on your bottom inhib as well, and we're only 17.5 minutes into the game, you know that something's gone terribly, and you're not even looking at the scaling. This would be where a mid-game team would be happy to be. This is where Nerdrage wants to be at this point, but they can't do it because of how well Misfits have played.
Yeah, and Shikari already blowing up the backside of those minion waves with his barrels, and it's just not going to be a fun time if the Camille cannot deal with Shikari right now. And honestly, I don't think he can. It's just so much damage coming out. He's already got his Triforce. Governor has yet to finish something, is yet to finish an item. And like the Corki's only just finished the Triforce. We're seeing an Essence Reaver from the Ashe. So we're just not seeing these huge item power spikes. Everyone in every single lane seems to be about half an item down.
Yeah, and how do you then try and stop this as well? Because you're looking at a 1-3-1 coming through from Misfits, but the problem is Rengar facilitates that so well. Rengar is happy to be in the jungle like Bimbo is right now, where he can start to try and assassinate people. Yeah,
as we say that though, ooh, nice flash out of the Cataclysm and away from the enchanted Crystalline Arrow. That means they're going to waste that, but they got what they wanted. The mid turret did go down. That's the second tier 2 turret taken away by Misfits. There's only one left, and honestly, I don't think that Governor can really stay much longer here without support.
Yeah, particularly when you're looking at everyone from Misfits will be moving down towards there relatively soon. They're going to back and try and reset, pick up some of the item spikes that we're looking at. You know, the Runins complete onto the Kog'Maw. You got Duskblade complete onto Rengar as well. And this is where they're now going to look to leave Gangplank down there for a while and then start moving up towards this Baron. It's spawning incredibly soon. And this is why I like... I was worried in the beginning about this Rengar pick, but I was not expecting Bibbo to come out swinging the way he did. And now that they are ahead, the Rengar is fantastic, where you're going to be able to take out all the vision control for Nerdrage. And who do you send into the jungle to deal with this trio Rengar? Like, you cannot move Kavotan there because he doesn't really have any armor right now. You can't see Corki. Maybe Snuggly can hope to deal with it when he has the ultimate available, but wrestling back vision control is not going to be an option for these guys right now. So they have full vision control, they have full run of the map, and Nerdrage just don't really have any sort of opening to get back into this.
Again, like I said, it was about 10 minutes ago as well, is the kind of scary thing, is it will take a monumental mistake coming out from Misfits, who look like they're poised to try and go for this Baron. They've got the tankiness. You have got the Galio and the Shen with the Kog'Maw to rip through it, and the Rengar. It's just, you don't even need the Gangplank. The Gangplank could just do what he's done so far, which is sit in the side lane, throw down the Cannon Barrage whenever he needs to. And that's all they need to do right now, is just keep the lanes pressured and look to try and catch people out. And can't even take their own Krugs, or take their own rates. Jungle camps are just not yours anymore, Nerdrage. You're going to have to try and keep getting what you can get.
Yeah, and that's one of the very few times you see the Cogmob being the aggressor just on his own, but that's because he knows he's got Prosphere and Special there to help him out at any point in time. It's going to be Shikari taking down this tier 2 tower. Now that that's happening, you can see that the rest of the team are trying to move back towards this Baron as well, as you see Shikari pushing up to try and threaten this inhib turret.
As Nerdrage just look for something, but they are just being suffocated constantly. As I say that though, here comes the Corki, but a double taunt onto the side of Nerdrage means we're going to see a double. 3 people dead. Jarvan going to fall as well. 4 down, and it wasn't even that convincing. And as I say that though, Governor might be the 5th. They're looking to try and see if they can ace this and end this game in just under 23 minutes. It's going to be pretty easy with Governor eventually falling down. Shen getting another ace to his, the final kill in the ace. They're onto the inhibitor turrets. They're going to be onto the inhibitors. Honestly, I think this is Misfits Academy's game, and not a huge amount that, you know, Nerdrage can do about it.
Yeah, I think it's been Misfits Academy's game from about 12 minutes into this. They've played absolutely stunning League of Legends. There was no real way for Nerdrage to even answer for it. You don't expect them to try and shove into the jungle that early, which means Kavoth wasn't ready, and neither was Kroxin either. So they weren't able to hold down or hold back even Bimbo from invading, get that pressure down, which stopped their game plan in its tracks, and they could never really recover after that because Misfits just didn't let them. They had pressure going down consistently, and like where do you look to find an opening against this team?
Again, there's no openings coming up. Misfits Academy just looking strong, looking in charge, and looking like the kind of team that just doesn't give up these kind of advantages. You're only up to the 23-minute mark of the game, and you are 16,000 gold ahead of your opposition. And like you said, you have the scaling. You've already got 3 items on Kog'Maw. You've nearly got 3 items. Actually, you do have 3 items onto the Gangplank. There's your late game damage. There's nothing really that's going to happen in this game that will see the Ashe or the Camille get on level terms with these players. And I just don't see it. I think it's going to be a Baron take and then probably an end of the game because 2 inhibitors down, the side of Nerdrage Pro just can't leave their base.
Yeah, and as well, they've got that, as you were saying, the inhib down, the super minions are pushing in towards the base. Now you got Galio pushing in the top side as well, which means Misfits are free to threaten the jungle. And look how scared Nerdrage are. They know they can't go anywhere near this. They just want to see if maybe they can make some desperation steal if Misfits decide to go for the Baron. But I don't even think that's in their mind right now. Well, as I say that, they decide to go for it. But I think realistically, all they're trying to do is see if they can make that pick in the jungle. And then you can have Rengar just step back and pick up this Baron as they continue to pressure away the remaining members of Nerdrage.
Yeah, we could have seen a perfect game coming out from Nerdrage, or coming out from Misfits, I should say. As we see Bimbo gonna use his flash in to try and get that Baron. Wants that stat for himself. Snugly just gonna tank up as much as he possibly can. Does flash away, still is alive. We're gonna see a flash in there by Special. Galio still very much able to do a lot to this Alistar once that ult does end up breaking down. Bimbo sidesteps. Jakamaka taken down off of the side as well. Governor gonna go in, try do something. Here comes the Galio ultimate though to disengage absolutely anything. Shen'll just to keep everybody alive. Jarvan is also the next one to go down. Bimbo gonna go golden for half a second. Prosphere just gonna play defense, keep Bimbo alive. They're gonna make it so the only person who died was that Kog'Maw. They are gonna take the inhibitor turrets, the Nexus turrets, and they're gonna take the Nexus and game 1 of the ESL Premiership Week 1 Spring Season 2018.